The partition plan took on a checkerboard appearance, largely because Jewish towns and villages were spread throughout Palestine. This did not complicate the plan as much as the fact that the high living standards in the Jewish cities had attracted large Arab populations, which ensured that any partition of Palestine into Jewish and Arab states would require that a fairly significant Arab population be a part of the Jewish state. Recognizing the need to allow for additional Jewish settlement, the majority proposal of the UN suggested that the Jews be allotted the northern part of the country in the Galilee and the large arid Negev desert in the south. The remainder was to be the Arab state. Now, these boundaries were mainly based on demographics. The borders of the Jewish state were arranged with no consideration for security. Hence, the new state's frontiers were virtually indefensible. Further complicating the situation was the UN's insistence that Jerusalem remain apart from the Jewish state. In fact, apart from both states. But it was going to be completely surrounded by the Arab state, which left 100,000 Jews who lived in Jerusalem isolated from their country and completely surrounded by the Arab state. Now, critics often claim that the United Nations gave the Jews all the fertile land while the Arabs were given hilly, arid land. This is untrue. Approximately 60% of the entire Jewish state was the arid desert of the Negev. Now, it's true that the Arabs made up a majority of the population in all of Palestine, 1.2 million Arabs compared to about 600,000 Jews. But the Jews made up a majority of what was to be the Jewish state. And in fact, the Jews never had a chance of reaching a majority in the entire country because the British had maintained restrictions throughout the history of the Mandate to prevent open immigration for all the Jews who wanted to move to Palestine. The Arabs, on the other hand, had no restrictions. They could move in at will and did in large numbers to take advantage of the improvements in the economy and living conditions created primarily by the Zionist settlements. Still, the Jews were a majority, as I say, in the area allotted to them by the partition resolution. In addition to roughly 600,000 Jews then who were in the Jewish state, about 350,000 Palestinian Arabs were also to be a part of the Jewish state created by partition. According to the British statistics in 1948, 8.6% of the land that comprised the Jewish state in 1948 was owned by Jews. 3.3% of the land was owned by Israeli Arabs. Another 16.9% was abandoned by the Arabs who fled the country. And the rest, more than 70%, actually had been owned by the British Mandatory Authority and reverted to Israeli control after the British departed.